My name is Sam Eaton, and this is my peak. Probably the biggest thing is mindset and nutrition. Like, I could never stay on track with my nutrition especially, and I think that had a lot to do with my mindset, but that was my biggest thing. That was my biggest reason for signing up for like the life check. Well, I would eat really well for a period of time, and then anytime something would be in the break room that was bad, I would just start by just like eating a little, and then I would keep going back. And then I kept always pushing it off, like, oh, well, tomorrow I'll eat better, tomorrow I'll eat better. And I kept gaining weight and kept gaining weight, and I noticed myself less energy, like a harder time moving patients, just like generally like a harder time in my life, and I knew I had to get it together. Like, I'm not gonna be young forever. Probably the biggest thing that changed was there's obviously been like a huge focus on health with this pandemic, and seeing firsthand people in poorer health doing a lot worse with something like this. I don't want to be in that boat now or ever. So I knew I had to do something, and then you guys were starting the life check, and there was nothing else to do at that time, so I was like, this is the perfect time to like focus on myself when I'm not at work and change my habits. I think the biggest thing that's changed is like my mindset. So I'm no longer training to like look like a certain person or look a certain way. I'm doing it for me. Like, I want to feel strong. I want to feel connected to my body. I want to live like a long and healthy life as much as possible. And I think that being the reason why makes you keep doing it more than just, I want this muscle here or this body type or this physique. The biggest thing was in Life Check, we started doing like the journaling prompts, and part of that was like finding the things that were most important to you. And then after finding out that what I thought was important is really not important to me, it just started this shift. And then I've just continued kind of like doing like journaling, and when I start to feel a certain way, like looking for why, as opposed to just pushing it away or like giving into that like horrible feeling or depressed or whatever kind of feeling. The things that I like have valued now, like my personal relationships, like strengthening the relationships to the people that I love around me, strengthening my health, and then getting more knowledgeable. And not just, I kind of associated myself as like a nurse. That's what I was. That was like my whole identity for a while. And I realize now that's like a very small part of me. Like, I want to gain knowledge in fitness and health and different, like traveling different, like I just want to expand my knowledge to beyond that tiny little box I was in. Probably like the biggest thing I realized was I was no longer like binging on food. So there would be a bunch of stuff in the break room, and I'd have a cookie, put it in my Fitness Pal, instead of acting like it never happened and then eating 10 more. Putting it in my Fitness Pal, I was accountable for it, it was there, it's not a big deal, and then kind of like moving on with my life. Like, that's not the end of me being on track, that's not the end of me being healthy. It's, I ate it, it's not bad, it's whatever, just move on. And then after having that shift, like not binging on foods anymore because they're there, because it seems like it'll make you happy for a second, was probably like, that was the second I was like, oh, this is different. It was like an aha moment, because like my life has been controlled by food, whether it's like hyper vigilant, focused, controlling every single thing that goes into my mouth, or like the opposite end of like just eating everything in sight and paying no attention to like what is good for me. So having that just like freedom moment of like, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating what's good for my body, and I ate something that I don't even want to call it like unhealthy anymore, but just like something that's like I shouldn't eat all the time, and not being upset by that or thrown off by it was like very freeing moment. So impacting me now, like my stress level is way less. Even with everything going on in the world, I am way happier than I've ever been. I feel better than I ever have. My body feels better than I ever have. I think part of that is incorporating Pilates into my lifting, and then part of that is obviously like the mindset change, but I just feel better than I ever have before. So lifting like 3 to 4 days per week, heavy lifting, that's what I love. It makes me feel powerful, it makes me feel strong. Like I like getting that little bit more on the bar. But then I also have really incorporated Pilates, which I always thought of like, this is stretching and lengthening my body, but after I've really gotten into it the past like 4 months, it's so much more. Like that mind to muscle connection, you can't compensate if there's one little muscle that's weak, like you're gonna strengthen that muscle. And then just like the breath, like all my lifts have gone up because I've learned how to properly breathe, embrace my body, and have a strong core, not just like that 6-pack core, but like that whole corset around your entire body has just changed everything. Like worlds better. Anytime I'm feeling stressed, that like in through my nose, powerful out through my mouth, it's just like you're getting all the stress out from you. And even like just bracing your core and like wringing a towel, it sort of just like gets all that negativity out from inside of you. It feels good. The biggest thing is just like if you give into the process, it will come like that. Like I always, I don't need to track this, or I don't need to do that, or if I don't go work out, it's not a big deal. Like if you just give into the process and just give into making the habits and listen to the people that know what they're talking about, it'll come like that, and you could be a year ahead of where you are now. That like happiness, not focused on that little bit of cellulite or things not looking perfect, but just like happy, less stress, stronger, just happier. You'll feel better when it's done. Like you feel exhausted now, but you're not gonna sleep well if you don't go. Your body might ache if you don't go. You're gonna be disappointed that you didn't go. Not in myself disappointed, but just like knowing how good it will make me feel. I'll be sad if I didn't go. Like later in the day, I'm gonna be like, oh, my body really like needed that. Especially after 16 hours. Like you're on your feet, you're moving people, you're running around constantly, you're mentally like strained. And that's usually when I use Pilates after I get off work, because it like takes away that compression that I feel like I get from my shift, like mentally and physically, and elongates my body, strengthens my body. The breathing gets rid of the stress. Like it feels better. I just tell myself you're gonna feel better when it's done. Do it now. Don't wait. Don't keep pushing it off.